Devaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye. Nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yetkrapatam Aham Vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Om Tat Sat Om Agnanati Mirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshoram Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatadishatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Radhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Yeah, Hare Krishna. So we're in the 7th chapter of the 4th canto, the sacrifice performed by Daksha, and we are going to do from shlokas 21 to 25, right? Okay. So today, now just quickly, any one of you, what are these shlokas? What is previous shloka? Anyone remember what is the shlokas going through now? Just a brief also is okay. I mean, okay.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Past from this chapter, few slokas we have. It is said in Bhagavatam slokas that Daksha is repenting for his thing, and
yeah, okay.
Yesterday's class we discussed about purification. Mataji. Mataji has taken brief about purification
Okay.
topic.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. But yeah, we are talking about Daksha Prajapati feeling repentance. But these shlokas are describing the beauty. It is describing the Lord, right? It is the Lord's description, right? In the previous, the 20th shloka translation by Prabhupada, if you see, Mataji, you can go to the translation of 20th shloka. Yeah. Yes. Shilpa Mataji, you just want to read the translation of this?
Hare Krishna, yes, Mataji. His complexion was blackish, his garment yellow like gold, and his helmet as dazzling as the sun. His hair was bluish, the color of black bees, and his face was decorated with earrings. His 8 hands held a conch shell, wheel, club, lotus flower, arrow, bow, shield, and sword, and they were decorated with golden ornaments such as bangles and bracelets. His whole body resembled a blossoming tree, beautifully decorated with various kinds of flowers. Hare Krishna. Thank you,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna. Okay. So actually, I was going through these shlokas, and then, it is all description of the Lord. The Lord, how beautiful the Lord is. Now I'm wondering, I was thinking, what is it that I can say? Because you can talk of something that we have either we know about it or we have seen or kind of realized, okay, which neither I'm neither in any of these capacities. So I thought today we will read Prabhupada's purport, because Prabhupada is describing, and that is that's the only way we can, as of now, all of us can understand the beauty of the Lord. And as a summary, in the end, I would like to, touch upon a point about chanting, because that is how it's going to help us to ultimately make us realize this, right? So I can call for more hands today, volunteers, devotees who wants to read, because we are going to read the shloka translation and purport. Okay, so Vasudha Mataji can read the 21st shloka, and the translation. And Sarika Mataji can read the purport of Shloka 21. Yes, Mataji, Vasudha Mataji, please go
Hare
ahead.
Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Va- वक्षस्य अधिसृता वधूर्वनमाली उधारा हासावलोका कलया रमयांश्च विस्मम् पार्श्वाभ्रमद्व्यजन चामरराजहंस श्वेतातपत्र ससिनो परिराज्यमानः. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Translation also, please read.
Translation, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Lord Vishnu looked extraordinarily beautiful because the goddesses of fortune and a garland were situated on his chest. His face was beautifully decorated with a smiling attitude which was captivate the entire world, especially the devotees. Fans of white hair appeared on both sides of the Lord like white swans, and the white canopy overhead looked like the moon. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Mother.
Yeah, Sarika Mataji, please read the purport.
Hare Krishna, purport by Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. The smiling face of Lord Vishnu is pleasing to the whole world. Not only devotees but even non-devotees are attracted by such a smile. This verse nicely describes how the sun, moon, eight-petaled lotus flower, and humming black bees were represented by the fans of hair, the overhead canopy, the moving earrings on both sides of his face, and his blackish hair. Altogether, accompanied by the conch shell, wheel, club, lotus flower, bow, arrows, shield, and sword in his hands, these presented a grand and beautiful audience for Lord Vishnu, which captivated all the demigods there, including Daksha and Lord Brahma.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
So,
thank you.
Yeah, so I hope all of you understood why I'm saying we will read the purport. Srila Prabhupada is giving a beautiful description of the Lord, which as of now we can just kind of, visualize how beautiful the Lord is, right? And then previously we saw a situation where, which is not possible. The sun, moon, rainbow, clouds, everything when it is there. I think it was in the first canto. Somewhere else, where, describing, when the Lord is, this was in when this description when the Lord is entering Dwarka, there. One shloka says, of a kind of impossible kind of situation, because the sun, moon together, everything shining brightly, and then the rainbow also is there, and then a beautiful black cloud, and with the birds chirping and other things, just to give us a glimpse of how beautiful the Lord is. That is whatever I describe now, or is nowhere near comparable to the beauty of the Lord. But Srila Prabhupada, Acharyas, by their description, we can kind of at least, visualize how the Lord looks, how beautiful the Lord looks, with, decorated with garland and with goddess of fortune on the chest. So imagine, goddess of fortune on the chest, the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi itself is so beautiful. And, she is adorning the Lord, which that's why it is making her more beautiful. So these descriptions, with the flower, bow, arrow, shield, everything in the hand, we kind of try to meditate on the Lord and his description and his beautiful face, smiling face, right? To kind of understand how it will be when, when we finally see the Lord, how it can be, right? The most attractive for me is, Damodar. If you see that painting, why I'm saying we'll read Prabhupada's purport, even when all these paintings made by all the Matajis when Prabhupada was there, Prabhupada gave that description, right? And they painted as per Prabhupada's description. So actually, the paintings what Prabhupada has described, and these Matajis or Prabhus, when, direct disciples, when they were there, when Prabhupada was there, when it was described and painted, it actually gives us a glimpse of glimpse of the spiritual world, right? It is so captivating. I mean, even the other photos that we see, but then this is like as though it is so real, so many photos or the paintings that was done by the devotees, the disciples of Srila Prabhupada, because Srila Prabhupada is not visualizing it. Srila Prabhupada is realized and he is describing it. So that's how, when we stand in front of even the paintings, of course, the deities, but even in front of the paintings, we will see how we are captivated by the Lord and the description of the spiritual world, right? So we'll go to text 22. I will ask Shilpa Mataji to read the shloka, and then Rohini Mataji, has she raised her hand? Okay. Archana Sunil Kumar Mataji will read the translation, and Barnali Mataji will read the purport. Yes, shloka 22.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
तम उपागतम् आलक्ष्य सर्वे सूरगणादयः प्रणीमुः सहसोत्थाय ब्रह्मेन्द्रत्र्य क्षनायकः. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Yeah. Archana Sunil Kumar. Yeah, translation.
Hare Krishna, Pranam Mataji. As soon as Lord Vishnu was visible, all the demigods, Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, the Gandharvas, and all present there immediately offered their respectful obeisances by falling down straight before him. Hare Krishna.
Mataji, will you read the purport?
Hare Krishna Mataji. Hare Krishna Mataji's Dandavat Pranams. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. It appears that Lord Vishnu is the Supreme Lord, even of Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, what to speak of the demigods, Gandharvas, and the ordinary living entities. It is stated in a prayer, Yam Brahma, Varunendra, Rudra, Marutaha. All the demigods worship Lord Vishnu. Similarly, Dhyanavasthita Tadjane Gatena Mamasa Passanti Yam Yogina. Yogis concentrate their minds on the form of Lord Vishnu. Thus, Lord Vishnu is worshipable by all demigods, all the Gandharvas, and even Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma. Tad Vishnu Paramam Padam Sada Pasanti Suraya. Vishnu is therefore the Supreme Personality of Godhead, even though Lord Shiva was previously referred to in prayers by Lord Brahma as the Supreme. When Lord Vishnu appeared, Shiva also fell prostrated before him to offer respectful obeisances. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So, you see, what we have read how Lord Shiva is so exalted that everybody except Daksha Prajapati did not pay respects when he came to the sacrificial arena, right? But then here in this shloka and translation and purport, or in this shloka, we are seeing how everybody looked, dull when the Supreme, dull in the sense, it's so bright, like, if during the day, if we switch on the torch, it just doesn't make any sense. In the sense, it looks very dull. So that's how, when the Lord came, he was so bright that everybody else looked, a little less effulgent than the Lord. And even here, Srila Prabhupada at times and again is saying how even Brahma and Shiva are subordinate to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because Bhagavatam is saying it. And then why this is repeated time and again is because we have many people who believe Lord Shiva is the Supreme, and then they think either Durga is supreme. There are many people who worship the Shakti and they think she is supreme. Yes, she is supreme as far as the material world is concerned because she is the controller of the material world. True. But then there is somebody above that also. So that's how Bhagavatam gives the description of the Lord. and also time and again to understand that the Lord is supreme. The Lord is supreme, right? So that is what is coming out here with so many shlokas. Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutaha. All the Gandharvas, everybody who are in the arena, in that arena, just they fall flat to pay obeisances to the Supreme Personality of Godhead when he appears. And so effulgent and so beautiful and smiling, right? We can get a glimpse of this, or we can understand how our feeling is when we see a small child, when a small child, I mean, not very small, maybe a 3-month, 4-month-old child, when it smiles, we just forget everything. Irrespective of how, what our mood is, we break into a smile, right, when we see a child. So, I mean, a small glimpse of what it can feel when actually we see the Lord face to face, right? Yeah, so we'll see text 23. Chandana Mataji will read the shloka, translation by Krishnamurti Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji,
Hare
pranam.
Krishna.
तत्तेजसाः तरुचः सन्नजिह्वास सात्वशाः मूर्ध्ना धृताञ्जलिपुटा उपतष्टुत् अधोक्षजम्. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Pranams Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Translation by A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Prabhupada ki jai. In the presence of the glaring effulgence of the bodily luster of Narayana, everyone else luster faded away, and everyone stopped speaking, fearful with awe and veneration. All present touched their hands to their heads and prepared to offer their prayers to the Supreme Personality of God, Adokshaja. Hare Krishna Mataji, Pranams Mataji.
Hare Krishna. So here this word adokshaja, right? If we take the aksharamala, right, it starts from a to ksha. If you go a, I, I, right? So what does adokshaja mean? One meaning I heard in one of the lectures is he's beyond this aksharamala, a to ksha, adokshaja. Also, it can mean, I mean, vision, somebody who is beyond our material vision, right? That's how in Bhagavad Gita, when we see Sanjaya and Arjuna, Sanjaya was blessed by Vyasdev with divine vision, and Arjuna, of course, by Krishna, to see his divine vision in the 11th chapter when we see the Vishwarupa. They had to get the divine vision above these three modes, right? So this adokshaja means that to ksha, somebody who is above the normal, normal words or normal dealings that we do. That is what is saying here. And everyone, of course, everyone's luster faded, it said, and then they all prepared to offer their prayers to the Supreme Personality of God. Prayers, prayers are so powerful. I heard, why prayers, even though we may say some prayers, even that the Lord hears. But when we say the prayers of, say, Kunti Maharani, Gajendra Moksha prayers, Dhruva Maharaj prayers, then we have Brahma's prayers, all these prayers, when they say, then the Lord's attention is more towards who's talking about who's repeating prayers of my dear devotee, so because they are saying it out of so much of realization, Gajendra or Kunti Maharani's prayers. There is another very nice what I can say, annotation that I read. If an husband and wife is walking, right? And then if you want to get the attention of the husband, a person will call out the wife's name. So what will the husband do? He'll say, hey, who's calling my wife's name? So, and then they came to the aspect of, that's how calling out Radha, calling out Srimati Radha, then Krishna is suddenly, who's calling Radha? So, so all these things should help us to grab Krishna's attention. So I thought I'd just share that, right? We'll receive the text 24, Shloka, Sudha Mataji will read. Anita Mataji, she had raised her hand and maybe she's busy. I thought I would give her also a chance to read. Yeah, Sharmila Mataji will read the Shloka. Sudha Mataji will read the translation. And Padma Mataji will read the purport. Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
अपि अर्वावृतयो यस्या महितो आत्मभू आदयः यतामति गृह्णन्ति स्म कृतानुग्रहविग्रहम्. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, pranams. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Although the mental scope of even demigods like Brahma was unable to comprehend the unlimited glories of the Supreme Lord, they were all able to perceive the transcendental form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead by His grace. Only by such grace could they offer their respectful prayers according to their different capacities. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Padma Mataji, translate purport.
Hare Krishna, purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead, is always unlimited, and His glories cannot be completely enumerated by anyone, even by a personality like Lord Brahma. It is said that Ananta, a direct incarnation of the Lord, has unlimited mouths, and with each mouth he has been trying to describe the glories of the Lord for an unlimited span of time, yet the glories of the Lord remain unlimited, and he therefore never finishes. It is not possible for any ordinary living entity to understand or to glorify the unlimited personality of Godhead, but one can offer prayers or service to the Lord according to one's particular capacity. This capacity is increased by the service spirit. Sevon mukhe hi jivadau means that the service of the Lord begins with the tongue. This refers to chanting. By chanting Hare Krishna, one begins the service of the Lord. Another function of the tongue is to taste and accept the Lord's prasada. We have to begin our service to the unlimited with the tongue and become perfect in chanting and accepting the Lord's prasada. To accept the Lord's prasada means to control the entire set of senses. The tongue is considered to be the most uncontrollable sense because it hankers for so many unwholesome eatables, and thereby forcing the living entity to the dungeon of material conditioned life. As the living entity transmigrates from one form to another, from one form of life to another, he has to eat so many abominable foodstuffs that finally there is no limit. The tongue should be engaged in chanting and in eating the Lord's prasad so that the other senses will be controlled. Chanting is the medicine and prasad is the diet. With these processes, one can begin his service, and as the service increases, the Lord reveals more and more to the devotee. But there is no limit to his glories, and there's no limit to engaging oneself in the service of the Lord. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So you see, why I said we are going to read the purport. Anantadev, okay, from unlimited time and in his unlimited mouth, he's trying to describe the Lord. And then he is not, he says he cannot do it enough. Then personalities like Brahma and Shiva, all of them, not able to, although the mental scope of even demigods was unable to comprehend the unlimited glories of the Supreme Lord, they were all still able to perceive. Why? Because in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, when the service process begins, the Lord reveals more and more. So you see, it's not the aspect of we trying to understand something, in these aspects about the Lord, about his glories. Okay, he has to reveal himself, right? And for that, Sevan Mukhi Jigvado, the most, it sounds very simple, but very what to say, challenging thing in the both in the aspect of chanting and eating, right? Especially in the first, let's take about eating. Here it talks about we go through so many different species and we eat abominable foodstuffs, it says. But even, after beyond one point of time, even prasadam has to be taken. I mean, we should not indulge in prasadam also. Like this one very, what I should say, profound statement I heard about prasadam. What is prasadam? Prasadam is what? If anybody can answer, what is prasadam?
Mataji, remnants of
Remnants of the Lord and
Remnants of the
sanctified food,
Lord's
Mataji,
mercy.
offered to them.
Lord's mercy,
Lord's mercy.
sanctified food.
Different from no.
Yeah, non-different from, who was that? Neeta Mataji. Yes, please tell me.
Mataji, yeah, it's not different from Krishna. It's Krishna himself.
It's
And
Krishna himself.
Sakshat Darshanam, Mataji.
Okay. Prabhu ki Sakshat Darshan. Okay. Now, thanks. All of them are correct, but I thank Neeta Mataji. What I was looking for is prasadam is non-different from Krishna, like how the holy name is non-different from Krishna, right? Which is free from all sins. Yes, thank you, Suma Mataji. Yes, it is free from all sins also. Now, now from this little knowledge that we have acquired about bhakti, what is it that we should not be doing and what should we be doing? I mean, in terms of sense gratification, what is it that we should be doing? Whose senses we should satisfy?
Krishna's, Mataji.
Krishna's, and not gratify our senses. So now we'll come back to prasadam. Now, when we are eating prasadam, even if it is tasty prasadam, if we are over relishing prasadam, saying it is very nice, whose senses are satisfied?
Our own senses, Mataji.
But whose senses it should satisfy?
To satisfy the Lord.
That's why I said it is very tricky. This is from Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj. So you see, that is why if you see all these pure devotees, of course, we eat tasty prasadam, but at least we should know this. We are trying to enjoy prasadam. That means we are trying to enjoy Krishna, right? Because prasadam is non-different from Krishna. Rather, Krishna should, I mean, we should be in the service of Krishna. So you see how difficult it is. Like, every time we are tasting nice prasadam, we say, oh, it is nice. Yes, we come with all these initial things, but we should move up. I mean, that's how I'm trying to say. But how that can happen when you have a tasty food inside your tongue, say, oh, I should not find it so tasty. When how that should happen, that Krishna only has to give his mercy. That is actual mercy, right? Eating tasty prasadam, but eating so, my Guru Maharaj, he says he takes a lot of time. If you see pure devotees, they take a lot of time to chew the prasadam and then they eat it. Because their thought process is, they are feeding the Paramatma, and because Krishna says in the 15th chapter, I am the different airs in the body, right? In the 15th chapter. So we are feeding that, we are trying to feed that apana, vayu, and all those vayus. So that is their thought process. Whereas as of now, we are eating it to maintain our body, right? You see the shift in the consciousness there. So how every aspect of it, when I'm not trying to say here that we should not relish prasadam, but then that is how subtle, how profound, how grave bhakti is. To what extent, pure devotees always think of satisfying the Lord's senses, right? In every aspect of it. So at least we should know, at least we should be aware. And then how we will practice it, please don't ask me. I'm still relishing the prasad that I eat, right? But at least let's all pray together that one day the Lord reveals to us that even though there's a tasty prasadam also in our tongue, that it is relished by Krishna rather than us relishing it. Okay, so that is how difficult. There is nothing to talk about non prasadam, right? So there is nothing to taste about non prasadam at all. So even if it is prasadam, initially Srila Prabhupada, did tell the devotees, eat up to the neck, so that initial days in bhakti, when we go outside, we are not tempted by all the other things that we see, which we were used to earlier. But eventually, Srila Prabhupada, after they all became serious, they took initiation, they took second initiation, some of them took sannyasa diksha and all that. Prabhupada did mention to them that even prasadam should be eaten. There should be a limit in how much we should eat prasadam. Then they did question Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada, you said we should, that was then. Now, now that you're all moving in the spiritual path, you must know this. And of course, we all have experience, like if we are overeat, how lazy the mind and body becomes. So even in that aspect, prasadam should be taken only 50%. Ayurveda says another 25% for air, another 25% for water. And in night, 75% or something during the day. Night though, it should be a 50 or 40% only we should fill our stomach. Right? Actually, we may think why we are diverging into all this. All this helps, in our bhakti, because unless we are at least not overly indulged and then feeling lazy, if we are trying to read or you're trying to understand something, we will just feel like dozing off. I'm sharing my experience sometimes where I have overeaten trying to read something. I find myself so lazy, and that's why it is always good. Stay hungry, stay foolish. It says to learn something. This is the adage that is used for people who are on the top. Who have reached the top notches. They say stay hungry, stay foolish, because if we don't consider ourselves as foolish, then we will think we know everything. Then we will never learn anything. Okay, and then the aspect of staying hungry, so that we are not very lazy, or we don't become very lethargic about doing things, even on the material aspect. So that was a little divulging into Sevan Mukhi Hichikvadu. Then Prabhupada says chanting is the medicine, prasadam is the diet, right? So we will read the one more shloka that is there, and then I would like to elaborate a few things about chanting, which we have already heard, but I thought if we have to come to this aspect of how the Lord reveals us to more, then I wanted to share a few points. So I will ask Anita Mataji to read text 25 and Shobha Chennai Mataji to read the translation. Yes. Anita Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Once again. Can you hear me?
Yes, Mataji. Yes.
दक्षो गृहीतार्हणसाधनोत्तमं यज्ञेश्वरं विश्वसृजां परं गुरुं सुनन्दनन्दाद्यनुगैर्वृतं मुदा गृणन् प्रपेदे प्रयतकृताञ्जलिः. Hare Krishna. Translation by Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
Sorry, Mataji.
Sure.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Mataji. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada. When Lord Vishnu accepted the oblation offered in the sacrifice, Daksha, the Prajapati, began with great pleasure to offer respectful prayers unto him. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is actually the master of all sacrifices and preceptor of all the Prajapatis. And he is served even by such personality as Nanda and Sunanda. Haribol. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. So tomorrow onwards we will, tomorrow is Saturday. Monday onwards we will see the Daksha Vacha, the prayers of Daksha to to the Lord, right? So now we saw the description, beautiful description of the Lord. I mean, how beautiful the Lord looks with various paraphernalia, and how the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, is adorning his chest, and how even Brahma and Shiva are unable to describe or understand about the Lord and about Anantashesha. Now, we like I started the chapter, I mean, today's class saying it is beyond at least my scope to describe all these things, because there's nothing that as of now realized or understood to talk about the description of the Lord. But here Prabhupada says it is revealed. What is the Lord reveals about himself. And the main thing, two main things we talked about was chanting and prasadam, the tongue does. So now, how what is it that we have to know about chanting? So many classes devotees repeat about offenseless chanting, and then how to improve on our chanting, because that is where we are going to actually, the Lord is going to reveal himself through chanting, right? So how does this increase our bhakti? What are some pointers in one of the classes that I heard, I thought I will share. Right? The first thing this Prabhu was sharing is reading Shrimad Bhagavatam together. Right? Reading Shrimad Bhagavatam together. That we're already doing. All of us are sitting and reading, hearing Shrimad Bhagavatam together. And then there has to be motivation, because initially, because we are so conditioned, unless there is a motivation, then we may not take so much of interest in. We may do it mechanically. We are doing it mechanically. But how to bring bhava into what we are doing, right? So there can be two external and internal this thing, reasons, motivations. Now, initially, all of us, came with this aspect of puja, la, pratishtha, or we wanted peace, we wanted health, we wanted our near and dear ones to come to Krishna consciousness, or we wanted to understand why this world is like this. With so many these aspects. Initially, we came with all this artho, artharthi, those four things when we came to bhakti, right? But then eventually, understanding, getting gnana, when we are reading Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, and hearing from devotees, we understand that how it should be ahetuki. What is ahetuki? That it should be unmotivated, right? So we go by steps, then okay, irrespective of how my health is, maybe earlier when I started, if my health was not good, I would not chant. But then we come to a stage where, okay, as long as the body is there, health goes up and down, but I have to chant, you see, right? And then we might have come with, even among devotees, even temples we go, people don't say Hare Krishna, they still don't recognize me. I mean, like initially we may come with those thoughts. Then we understand the Lord, if the Lord sees, then the whole entire creation sees. So why should I be worried? You see how, the purification happens. These puja, la, pratishtha, or any of these material things, or we may do it as duty. We are initiated. Oh, I have given a vow. Yes, I have given a vow to my spiritual master. I have to chant 16 rounds. Perfectly right. But then the spiritual master is taking a vow, is given us this vow, so that we actually realize that chanting is also beyond that, in the sense, he's taking us above that, and so that we have that bhava to towards Krishna. Because in many of the lectures about chanting, it says, if we really know how chanting is so relishable, if we are in that stage, that means after 16 rounds, we will not hang our chanting bags. We will continue chanting. Right? I cannot describe because I'm waiting to hang it after 16 rounds, and then, the other things looks more interesting. Although theoretically, I'm aware that that is what happens in the spiritual world in Golok. People, devotees are just glorifying the Lord through his names, and then they're serving him, right? So, that is how these can be all external. Then some of the motivation which can be internal, like, initially, I might be curious or eager to know. Am I really curious and eager to know more about Krishna? Right? That is about the sambandha. And then am I sufficiently excited to going to Krishna or going back to the spiritual world? Very, very wonderfully, one devotee, when the lecture is said, how many of us are eager to see Krishna? Or, how many of us are eager? Yeah, all of us, right? Yeah. But then you see, we also, yeah, thank you, devotees. All of us are here for that only. But then we have also heard the holy name is not different from Krishna. Have we? Then, then why do we, after a point of time, is saturated with chanting the holy name? Actually, we are with Krishna when we are chanting the holy name, right? So that is where the revelation happens. Like when we contemplate on all these things, it's not that I have to go back to Krishna, Golok, Vrindavana to see Krishna. Even at this moment, this juncture, if I'm purified that much, if my chanting is so pure, that Krishna is still there in the holy name, right? And then that was the prayojana aspect of it. Now, do I relish the whole process? The whole process of bhakti, like it can be Shravanam, Kirtanam, then it can be satsanga, whatever. How much do I relish? Because if we have continuous programs, at least I have experienced this. And sometimes Sundays are like jam-packed with temple programs and other things. Then Monday I want to relax. Right? Relax in the sense of, oh, too much of bhakti. I want something a little. So how much do I really relish the whole process? So you see how much we are conditioned. We are conditioned to the wrong material things. You're getting unlimited bliss in the temple. The next day I should go to Mangalarati and then continue with that bliss. But I say, no. I need some rest. That's how the conditioning is, right? Then do I really feel like contributing to Krishna and devotees? Contribution it doesn't stop at money. It can be time. Actually, among the charity, the most topmost charity is time, because anything else, it can be given back. If somebody gives me clothes, I can give them clothes. If somebody gives me land, I can give them back land. But somebody gives me time. Time is done. I cannot give back them that time, right? So in so many ways we can contribute in terms of time, money, doing seva in the temple. And then, of course, how do I feel with devotees? In the sense, am I feel free enough to express myself? Maybe not all devotees. Each of us will have some. Why this is important with devotees is because we are invariably very close, maybe to our siblings or maybe to friends. Do we feel that connection? Yeah. Rupa Goswami talks about the 6 exchanges. How are we really relishing that, or do we really feel that connected to devotees that I can share, I can feel free and share? So these are some pointers, like about where exactly, how much exactly we are, all these external and internal things, when we contemplate, when we are not chanting, improves our chanting. How does it improve our chanting? Because then we understand that is the actual thing that we need. That is the actual thing the soul needs. Going back to Krishna, curious to or eager to serve devotees, feeling completely free with devotees. That is what all these things bring us to, the aspect of offenseless chanting, many other things. And also, actually, I was reading the 6th canto of Shrimad Bhagavatam, right? Even though we have heard 15 times, especially about Ajamila pastime, if if we read it, more, what I can say, in silence, in the sense, with silencing our mind, if we can actually concentrate on what we are reading about Ajamila, how just that one name of Narayana, right? How merciful the Lord is. And actually, we don't need anything else at all. Absolutely nothing else other than chanting the name of the Lord. And that is how Ajamila was so sinful from the age of 25 to the age of 80, right? And then he did not even call the Lord's name. He called out to his son. But it was a nama bhasa, like without any, helplessly, it says, helplessly he's calling out to Krishna. So that is another aspect of chanting, that how we, call out to Krishna, like how a lost child calls out to its mother when it cannot see its mother, right? Initially, I think maybe we have to, fake it until we make it. I don't know. It's so difficult, right? When everything, we have food, clothes, shelter. How do you cry out simply? Like in movies, they put some whatever glycerin or whatever to cry. But then this cry has to be real. That means I have to feel. What am I doing in this material world? How am I away from Krishna? When we feel it, feel that aspect, okay, irrespective of how comfortable we are, then it comes out in chanting, really crying out for Krishna. Krishna, this material world, I came here to this material world away from you. So when is it that I'm going to get back to you? In 100%. We may be, each of us, in whatever percentage we are, but in 100% to Krishna. Right? So this one translation about the 2nd chapter in the 6th canto, it says, translation by Prabhupada, while suffering at the time of death, Ajamila chanted the holy name of the Lord. And although the chanting was directed towards his son, he nevertheless returned home back to Godhead. Therefore, if one faithfully and inoffensively chants the holy name of the Lord, where is the doubt that he will return to Godhead? Two aspects, faithfully, because our faith gets shaken when Krishna shakes us a little. Our faith gets shaken. So that is the test when we are in during those trying times, when the Lord took him back to Godhead, even though calling out to his son. Then if we are at least our endeavor, all the lectures say the Lord sees our endeavor, because now, as of now, many people say, oh, I want to be perfect. I mean, in the sense, in the material aspect or the spiritual aspect. Perfection cannot come now. We are with those 4 defects. But what is the Lord that if I'm trying to chant inoffensively, trying to listen to that mantra, trying to apply what I heard about chanting. Let me at least listen to one mantra. Okay, and then if I'm deeply feel hurt by, then if I'm tears come out, then if I'm getting that thought, if I feel this kind of deep feeling, separation from Krishna, the tears come out during that time. Even that, the endeavor is what the Lord sees. But it has to, come from the heart. It cannot come from the throat or mouth. Because again, that is lip service only. We are doing lip service only. His Holiness, I forget the Maharaj's name. He says how we are all chanting is, we get these pills where, there's a covering, two covering, we take it, and actually the medicine is inside in the plastic kind of thing that we
Capsule.
get. Capsule. Okay. Thank you. The capsule. So if we are not applying these aspects of chanting, attentive chanting, it's like taking an empty capsule without any medicine in it. But still, the empty capsule may not work for our disease. But even that empty capsule of chanting, chanting inattentively, still that helps. That is how it has got us here to this stage. It has got us to the stage of trying to read and understand Shrimad Bhagavatam. So imagine if that itself can bring us here, if we are trying to chant attentively without offenses, then how much more we can actually feel the bliss, right? So revelation of the Lord, or trying to understand the beauty of the Lord, or any aspect of the Lord, even one iota of the Lord, we have to endeavor into these aspects, that our chanting has to, progressively, day by day, try to improve the quality. Because most of us maybe have reached that quantity, 16 rounds or whatever we are chanting, but quality of chanting also we have to try to parallelly increase, so that we give the eligibility for Krishna. We may think, okay, they are trying very seriously, and maybe he will reveal more. Dadami Buddhi Yogam, right? So with these few thoughts on this difficult aspect of trying to describe the Lord, I shared my thoughts. Thank you all very much for giving me a patient hearing, because it is helps me to purify myself more. These classes is mainly, I do it more so being selfish there myself, because it gives me a more chance to dive into it deeply and spend more time, which otherwise I would have not done. So I'm really very grateful for all of you. And please pray for me and excuse my shortcomings. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna. If there's any
Hare
questions.
Krishna, wonderful class, Mataji. Padma Mataji has a question. After Padma Mataji, Sarika Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, as usual, wonderful class. And I like what you explained about prasad and the chanting, this is very important, Mataji. About the chanting, I want to ask you two questions. One is, while chanting, we have to focus on the beads and on Krishna's name and hearing. And also with that, do we have to think, we have to glorify the Lord also, like picturize? This is a bit confusion, Mataji.
Prabhupada said you have to hear. Okay, we can sit in front of a picture of the Lord, because otherwise the mind is so, but there again we are visualizing. Okay, we have not yet realized how actually the Lord looks. With that picture, we are still okay. It is better than thinking of something else. Still okay, but Prabhupada says you can see the Lord through your ears. I'm repeating. Prabhupada says, Lord is revealed through your ears. So give more importance on hearing. Easier said than done. But anyway, at least we should know that.
And focus on the name.
Yeah.
Name
That
and
is
hearing.
what. Hearing means hearing the name only, what we are saying.
No, because sometimes when you say Hare Krishna, when you say sometimes, the certain scenes, the Krishna's beauty, like what we learn in Brahma Samhita, it just comes in the mind. So what do we do then?
Just accept it. And just accept it, right? That's what I said. I can tell you, explain as much as I think I have understood. Beyond that,
Yeah.
you-
Yes, such limited understanding.
please pray that so that there is some revelation happens. That's all.
Okay. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Very nice class. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Mataji, I had a question. Mostly Lord Vishnu, in some of the Leelas that I have read, appears in the Chaturbhuj form. And in this Leela, Lord Vishnu is appearing in the Ashtabhuja form. So is there a special reason why he is in the 8-armed form?
See, if I can, what comes to my mind is the Lord is independent. Okay, he decides what he wants to do, how he wants to do. There need not be any reason for it. Like, the owner of a company, he at the peak hour of the work start of the day, say 9 o'clock, the company is starting. He can go to a golf course and he can play golf. Can he or not?
Yes, sure, Mataji.
So he's beyond the rules that apply for the other employees in the company. So if that is for a CEO, then what to talk of the CEO of the whole creation? So he chooses what he wants to choose. He comes, appears however he wants. That so the word independent applies only to him, because he is just independent. Nobody else can be independent. Because of course, ultimately he is dependent. Like yesterday, I think he was saying it was not necessary for Lord to come as Narasimha to come in that form, half man, half lion, and then it was not necessary for him to kill Hiranyakashipu on the threshold and other things. But just because he loves his devotee, he wanted to keep the word of Brahma, he does it. So we can do anything for love, that is where it is coming from. We not necessarily we have to do it, but for the sake of love, he will do anything. Right? He is not bound by it. We must understand that. Okay. Does that answer your question?
Yes, Mataji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. There are no more hands raised. Can we end the class with prayers?
Yes, Mataji. Thank you very much.
Mancha kalpatarubhyascha.
अनंतकोटि वैष्णव
Koti
वृंद की
Vaishnavinda ki
जय
jai,
श्री
Srila
Srila
Prabhupada
Prabhupada
ki
ki
jai,
jai.
Shrimad
थैंक यू माता
Bhagavatam
जी
ki jai.
भागवत
Thank you,
जय
Mataji. Dhanvat
Suma
Thank you,
Pranam.
Mataji had no questions today. Usually she has a lot of questions. I missed
Yeah.
her question. Suma Mataji, all okay? I didn't hear from you.
Suma Mataji now has started feeling I asked too many questions, so she's kind of withdrawn, I think. Suma
No, there
Mataji,
can
answering your
be two
questions.
aspects. Either, I mean, like you are
She's
no.
not on the call.
She was
She's
there.
not
She
there, I think.
messaged.
No,
She did message.
she's not there, Mataji.
Okay. Okay. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Mataji. Thank
Mataji
you so
Danda
much.
Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
I'll end the class, Mataji.